Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the horror thriller films from 2024, titled Abigail. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. In the opening scene, we see Abigail, a 12-year-old ballet dancer, practicing in an empty theater. Meanwhile, a woman, who is actually a member of a criminal group, is plotting to kidnap Abigail. They begin making preparations, and we see that each member has a specific role. The woman is a medic, and the team's other members include a muscle man, a sniper, a hacker, a driver, and finally, their leader. After finishing her practice, Abigail heads home, unaware that she is being followed by the kidnappers. On the other hand, the hacker is already outside her house, having successfully disabled security cameras and systems. Before Abigail can arrive home, 3 kidnappers break into the house, and patiently wait for her. The medic is shocked to see the bedroom because she had no idea they were going to kidnap a child, but the leader claims that there is no turning back at this point. Shortly after, Abigail arrives home while talking to someone on the phone. As soon as she hangs up, the leader even attempts to punch the girl, but the medic steps in and injects Abigail with a sedative, knocking her out. The criminals attempt to leave with the girl, but unexpectedly, Abigail's father shows up. As they hurry out, the house alarm goes off, but they still manage to escape and get into their van. After some time, they reach an old mansion located in the middle of the forest. There, they meet the mastermind, Lambert, who guides them inside. After locking Abigail in a room with blindfolds and handcuffs, the group meets downstairs. It's revealed that this is the first time they've all met. So, Lambert asks the group not to share their real names or backgrounds. He explains that they just need to hold the girl for 24 hours until her father pays the ransom money. When the medic inquires about Abigail's father, Lambert simply says the man is wealthy and can easily pay a $50 million ransom. He promises each of them $7 million at the end. He then instructs them to hand over their cell phones to avoid being tracked. Before leaving, he gives them code names to address each other. The leader's name is Frank, the hacker, Sammy, the driver is Dean, the muscle man is called Peter, the sniper, Rickles, and the medic is Joey. After Lambert leaves, everyone starts drinking, except Joey. It is revealed that Frank used to be a cop. He's able to point out that Joey is a recovering drug addict. Hearing this, Joey is momentarily speechless, but she then excuses herself to check on Abigail. Upon arriving at the room, Joey immediately puts on a face mask, and removes the blindfold from the girl when she says it's too tight. Her arms are also sore from the cuffs, so Joey loosens them slightly. The scared little girl begins pleading for help, but Joey responds that they will hold her for a while until her father gives them the money. Here, Joey promises Abigail that she won't let anybody hurt her. She then reveals that she has a son who is the same age as Abigail. Suddenly, Abigail tells her that they were wrong, because her father doesn't care about her. As Joey proceeds to leave, Abigail apologizes for what's about to happen to her. Hearing this, a worried Joey goes downstairs and confronts Frank about the identity of the girl's father. Frank has no idea, although he is the only person who knew Lambert personally before this operation. Joey then informs him that the girl implied her father is a very dangerous man. Out of curiosity, Frank heads to Abigail's room, but he is shocked to find her without her blindfold. Frank points a gun at her and asks if she saw his face. She denies seeing him, and Frank presses her to reveal her father's identity, so the scared girl confesses that her father is Christophe Lazar. Hearing this, Frank is terrified and immediately rushes downstairs to gather his things. He informs the team that he's quitting because he didn't know the girl's father was Christophe Lazar. It turns out that Lazar is a very dangerous criminal underworld figure. Dean argues that Lazar is just an urban legend and not real, but Frank insists otherwise. Since Abigail has already seen his face, Frank considers killing Abigail and fleeing, but Joey opposes this plan. Dean then comments that the prospect of $7 million is life-changing money, and he's willing to take the risk. In the end, the group decides to stay put, as they only have 22 hours left for the operation. Later on, Dean roams the mansion, when he suddenly hears a strange noise. He follows the sound until he reaches a dark room. Inside, he notices a vintage painting, and thinks the girl in it looks like Abigail, but Dean is too drunk to think much about it. He then goes to the kitchen, located in the basement of the house, searching for food. He suddenly notices a door opening on its own. Confused, he goes into the room, and he is suddenly startled by a mouse. But then, just as Dean is about to leave, meanwhile, Sammy is in her room when she hears Dean's screams. She rushes to the basement to check on him, and is relieved to find him sitting in a chair, but then his head falls from his decapitated body. Upon hearing her voice, the others rush to the scene. Frank accuses Sammy of the murder, but she claims she is incapable of such heinous acts. Seeing all this, Joey claims that it resembles the work of Valdez, who is known as the most dangerous hitman of Lazar. Several years ago, 3 of Lazar's men were apprehended by the FBI. The night before the trial, they were placed in a top-floor hotel room guarded by numerous cops on the front door, but when FBI agents entered the room the next morning, they discovered the criminals' bodies torn apart and their organs missing. Plus, the room could only be reached via the front door, and a window on the 23rd floor. The group is now terrified, fearing that Valdez may be inside the mansion, so they check Abigail's condition, and she's fine. Finally, Rickles declares he's had enough and decides to quit. He heads to the front door, only to find another iron-fenced door blocking the exit. He and Peter do their best to break through this door, but they are unsuccessful. Instead, their attempts activate the home security system, which seals off all doors and windows. Therefore, Joey goes to see Abigail, and inquires if anyone else has visited her besides herself and Frank. The girl denies it, but she appears to be terrified for some reason, and finally admits that Frank is the man who works for her father, and his name is Valdez. Hearing this, Joey is terrified. Later, Rickles tells her that he suddenly lost his rifle, and she shares about Frank being Valdez. Rickles finds it difficult to believe because Frank was trying to flee, but Joey suggests it could be an act. They realize they cannot trust others anymore, so they decide to team up and kill the imposter. But just as Joey is about to go, she hears a noise. When she turns back, she notices Rickles standing still in the hallway. She calls out to him, but he does not respond, and she finds him severely injured, with his face ripped apart. Rickles then takes his last breath. Furious, Joey summons the group and confronts Frank, demanding to know why he brought them to the mansion only to kill them. He is perplexed, so she reveals what Abigail told her earlier and asserts that he killed the 2 people. Frank denies the accusations and claims that Abigail is just attempting to manipulate Joey. He then asks Peter to kill the little girl once and for all. Peter enters Abigail's room, ready to shoot her, but is stopped by Joey. Chaos ensues with everyone blaming each other and pointing guns. Amidst the argument, Abigail easily removes her handcuffs, and takes a ballet position. She transforms into a vampire, and Frank immediately shoots her in the forehead. But seconds later, she gets up, and her wound is instantly healed. Joey starts shooting her multiple times, and luckily, the group manages to lock Abigail inside. During this, they finally realize that Abigail is none other than the infamous Valdez. They then try to figure out how to deal with a vampire, and kill her once and for all. The group finds the stake to pierce the vampire's heart, but Joey is not joining them due to the risk. A while later, Peter, Frank, and Sammy go to confront Abigail, but she is not in her room. They suddenly hear music playing, and head toward the sound upstairs. To their horror, they discover Abigail dancing with Dean's lifeless body. Upon noticing them, Abigail acts innocent, and invites them to sit down and talk. Sammy gathers the courage to attack her with garlic, but it doesn't work. Peter tries to intervene, but Abigail repeatedly stabs him with his own cross necklace. Frank then approaches her with a wooden stake, but Abigail uses it to stab him in his own thighs. Realizing they cannot win, the group retreats and rushes downstairs to the hallway. Joey laughs at their stupidity, before tending to their injuries. She then informs the group that the only way to subdue the girl is to use the sedative and render her unconscious, as before. She tells the group to split up, and whoever finds Abigail first must immediately notify her. The 4 now spread out around the house, looking for Abigail. Shortly after, Sammy is attacked by a bat, which causes her to fall into a pool. And to her horror, it is filled with the bodies of Abigail's previous victims. Meanwhile, Peter is trying to remove a splinter on his finger, right when Abigail shows up.
Vampire!
He tries to lock himself in a room, but the vampire easily gets through the door. When he's running on the stairs, he gets pushed by Frank and falls to the ground. Frank tries to confront Abigail, but Abigail pushes him down the stairs, and begins choking him, while Joey's syringe is thrown away behind the locked grill gate. Abigail almost kills Frank, before Sammy intervenes, but Abigail brutally bites her hand. As things get out of hand, Peter arrives and manages to pin her to the ground, allowing Joey to inject her, and cause her to lose consciousness. In the aftermath, when Abigail awakens, she discovers herself trapped in an iron cage. Sammy expresses concern about whether she'll become a vampire, and Abigail says maybe, which makes her panic. Later, Abigail finally confesses that Lambert works for her, and she orchestrated the entire kidnapping. She says that she is going to kill each one of them, since they have all tried to harm her father's criminal business. Moreover, Abigail reveals that she is over 100 years old, and then proceeds to unveil the true identities of each member of the group. Abigail discloses that Sammy's real name is Jessica, who began her career by siphoning money from her wealthy parents' bank accounts. As she became more involved in financial fraud, she targeted larger entities, including Lazar's company. She further reveals that Peter's real name is Terrence. He was a henchman for a subsidiary of Lazar's empire, but then started stealing money from the crew. As for Frank, his real name is Adam, an undercover cop who infiltrated Lazar's New York arm. When 3 of the top members were arrested, Abigail ripped them to pieces, and Adam changed his name and left town. Finally, Joey's real name is Ana Lucia Cruz, and she was a former army medic who was fired because of her morphine addiction. She went on to work as an underground doctor for shady people. One day, when she was under the influence, she accidentally nicked a man's artery while attempting to remove a bullet. This caused him to die a painful death, and the patient happened to be very important to Lazar's business. Hearing this, Frank states that Abigail should have already killed them, and questions why she planned the whole kidnapping. The girl replies that she enjoys playing with her food, because it helps her pass the time. She then declares that whoever helps her out of this cage will have their life spared. Without wasting time, Peter attempts to free her despite being warned, so Joey shoots him. The others then leave to tend to his injuries, while Frank stays behind to look after Abigail. Afterward, the vampire girl attempts to manipulate Frank into releasing her, but he remains resolute. He agrees to consider her offer only if she provides information on how to escape. She then tells him about a secret door in the library. She instructs him to push the bookshelf on the right wall, using the book titled, "And Then There Were None," which will reveal the door. Frank is pleased, but he still refuses to open the cage door. This enrages Abigail so much that she easily destroys the cage door with one blow, and begins attacking him. At this critical moment, Joey arrives and breaks open the boarded windows. This exposes Abigail to sunlight, which appears to be harmful to her. Her hand is blasted, and she starts screaming in pain. Frank and Joey take advantage of this opportunity, and rush to the library with the others. They notice the sunlight coming from a particular window and decide to stay there. Sammy is also relieved that she's not transforming into a vampire. Meanwhile, Frank takes out the book that Abigail mentioned, but nothing happens, and he realizes he has been duped. The group grows increasingly concerned as they realize they are only safe until it's dark. Just then, Sammy suggests that they simply locate and deactivate the power source, which will turn off the devices. The group agrees with the plan, and splits up into pairs to search for the power source. Sammy and Peter head in one direction, while Joey and Frank go in another. Shortly after, Sammy, who had been bitten earlier, hears the music played by Abigail. Unfortunately, her vampirism takes over, and Abigail begins controlling her like a puppet. Peter, who was inspecting a wall, is shocked to find Sammy suddenly vanishing from his sight. Sammy reappears and viciously attacks him. After ripping his neck apart, she begins doing a ballet dance, copying Abigail's movements. When Joey and Frank arrive, Sammy tries acting normal, and claims that Peter is injured and needs help. However, the duo realizes that something is amiss, and immediately runs away, with Sammy chasing after them. They soon return to the library, and find shelter under the sunlight. And when Sammy is about to attack, Joey directs the sunlight toward her, causing the vampire's body to immediately break into pieces, resulting in her death. Moments later, the secret door of the library opens, and Joey and Frank walk into the hallway. They soon hear a sound from a room, and then discover a control room with Lambert inside. At this point, they realize that he is a vampire as well. He reveals that Abigail turned him into a vampire 2 years ago, forcing him to lure her father's enemies to their deaths regularly. He then tells Frank that he has had enough of being Lazar's puppet, so Lambert makes a deal with Frank to transform him into a vampire. The plan is to kill Abigail together, and then go after Lazar. With this, the duo can enjoy the spoils of the entire empire. Frank immediately agrees, and Lambert knocks Joey out. He then wastes no time and bites Frank's neck to turn him into a vampire. He also lets him drink his own blood to make him powerful. When Frank finally turns into a vampire, Lambert orders him to kill Joey. But then all of a sudden, Frank plunges a stake into Lambert's heart, causing him to break into pieces. When Frank is about to kill Joey, Abigail suddenly shows up, and tries to attack him. However, he retaliates by sinking his fangs into her neck, draining her of all her power. Meanwhile, Joey seizes the opportunity to deactivate the security system of the house and swiftly grabs her cell phone. She makes a run towards the secret door that was previously opened, only to find it locked now. Realizing she may meet her demise soon, she leaves an emotional voicemail for her estranged son. In the meantime, Frank catches up to her. Driven mad with power, he vows to turn Joey into a vampire so she can serve him. Following this, he begins throwing her around violently. He then chucks her from the second floor, but fortunately, Abigail appears and catches her. The girl explains that she feels very weak and asks for her help in defeating Frank. Abigail promises she'll let her go to see her son. Joey agrees, and they both join forces against him. Unfortunately, despite their best efforts, Frank easily overpowers them, and manages to bite Joey's neck. Once the latter transforms, Frank places a stake in her hand, ordering her to finish off Abigail. Joey, who appears to be in a vampiric trance, complies and cautiously approaches the girl. But then, she suddenly attacks Frank instead. Abigail also rejoins the fight, and together they manage to overpower, and pin the inexperienced vampire down. As they drive a stake into Frank's heart, his body erupts in an explosion, showering the girls with blood. Joey then expresses concern about becoming a vampire, but Abigail assures her that she is now free of the curse because Frank has died. She also hopes Joey will be reunited with her son. As Joey is about to leave, she is confronted by Abigail's father, Christophe Lazar. She is terrified to see him, and Lazar threatens to kill her for kidnapping his child. He goes into full beast mode, but Abigail intervenes. She claims Joey was there to protect her when he was not, and credits her for her survival. Surprisingly, Lazar is moved by this, and kisses Joey's hand before telling her to leave. Covered in blood, Joey then heads to the van parked outside, before leaving the estate to see her son. And this is where the movie ends. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.